right.
That's all I do is collect $50 teams.
Meeting tonight is for the conduct of town business by the town board. The public is invited to participate at the items marked on the agenda public comment. During that segment of the meeting, if you have a question or comment for the supervisor, please raise your hand and ask to be acknowledged. Wait to be acknowledged, excuse me. Please state your full name and limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Thank you for your anticipated cooperation.
Thank you very much. I'd like to start off the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for all our brave men and women fighting all over the world for democracy and freedom, and also for our first responders. Thank you. I'd like to make it an amendment to the agenda. I'd like to add the intermunicipal agreement, SROs, with the school. We just received that today from the lawyers. The two lawyers, our lawyers and the lawyer from the school met, put some verbiage in there.
I'll make the amendment.
I'll second.
To amend the agenda. The motion.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. So I'd like to have a motion to approve the agenda with the amendment.
I'll motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Motion to approve minutes from the October 14, 2019 Town Board meeting.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Motion to approve minutes from the October 14, 2019 public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, Ed?
Aye.
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 Authorized payment of bills, $745,805.04.
Big one. I'll make the motion to pay the bills.
Need a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The bulk of that was for the roads that were just paved. Any presentations tonight? None being had. We're moving right along. Comments on the agenda? Any comments on the agenda? Okay. Item 8, new business. So November 11th, Town Board meeting falls on Veterans Day, so I guess we'll have it on the 12th, if everybody agrees.
Tuesday?
Yeah.
I'll be a little late. I got basketball practice for my daughter, but that's fine.
Yeah.
You can have it upstairs?
Yeah, upstairs. So I need a motion to move it from November 11th, which is the holiday, Veterans Day, to the 12th.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Will there
So-
be court that day? Do you know, should we?
We're going to do it upstairs,
be-
right? We'll probably do it upstairs.
Yeah, we're gonna do
upstairs.
Yeah, we'll do it upstairs in the
Okay.
conference room.
We should
So
be
we'll
able
need
to,
hard copies,
we
right?
should be able
So
to fit
I'll get the
everybody
conference room. Okay.
Yeah.
in. I think we should be able to fit the crowd in.
And we'll need, they'll have the paper, hard copies, you don't have the computer.
So also, I'd like to just make a remark that, first of all, Trunk or Treat was really great. Had a great time. I want to thank Joe Wiles' sister and his daughter, who did a great job while Joe was at I guess he was at a meet. So thank you very much for the Recreation Committee. That was a lot of fun. And I'd like to make an announcement that this Friday, we're having the costume parade at the Milton, Main Street. Thursday's Halloween, okay. So,
You can go Friday if you want.
I'll be good.
It might look a little weird.
Watching by yourself.
There you go.
Yeah, it'll be
I wouldn't mind doing that.
Friday, 5 o'clock. Just meet at the Sarah Pollock Library at 5. We'll probably step off around 5:30.
Okay,
Jerry, you said you'd have a patrol down there, right? Yes, Thank you. Okay.
so that's a great thing. It's always a good time. Also like to report that the 9W sewer project is going very well. It's about 90% done as of Friday. probably be completed by this week. So,
They only hit that one spot with rock, or?
yeah, that's the only one spot they had. Yeah, they're moving pretty good. Yeah, pretty happy about
They
it.
hit it on 9W or in?
Yeah, right there where that outcrove of, you could see that outcrove of rock.
Just past Purdy?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, you could see it. They tried to go around it. A couple areas where they had to dig to find the water line to go underneath the water line. Some places they had to go on top of the water line. They insulated it. So yeah, it's moving great.
Good.
So workshop topics. We removed the tires there. I don't know what else we're going to do now. Probably not until next year. We know about TOMVAC and all the money we received, $800,000 all in total. We're going to deal with the Conservation Advisory Committee at the end, probably in November, with the design standards. The Milton Landing South Pier, we did get 3 bids. A couple of them were really high. One was right in the ballpark. Probably have a resolution at the next meeting to accept that low bid.
Did they check into those people?
Yeah, they did. They're very good. They found out that they've done a lot of work and they're very responsible construction outfit. Yeah,
I don't understand how there's such a big gap. I mean, I guess it happens, but that's a big gap.
Because I think I said it's like in my email that I sent you,
Yeah.
it's not a big job. So
Yeah.
it does entail moving a lot of big equipment here to do a small job. So if there's a lot of work going on right now, so it's one of those, hey, if I get it and they're willing to pay me this, I'll do it, but if not,
I'm just happy one came in close.
you and me.
yeah, I think we all are.
I was like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh my God.
I think we are. Yeah. So yeah, like you said, there was a great difference. Like a couple of them was a couple $1 million, huh?
They have to start pretty quick before the fish.
Yeah, we'll do the bid resolution, award the bid next meeting, and hopefully they could start. It all depends on what they have to do as far as the pilings.
Because if they don't do it this time around, they gotta wait all the way.
Yeah, there's certain things that you have to do with the pilings. Either you have to dig it or vibrate it.
Right.
If you vibrate it, I think that's the problem.
No, the pounding's the problem.
Problems,
The vibing you can do, it's the pounding you
I
can't.
had it backwards.
Yeah,
Okay,
It's no big deal.
yeah.
What about, if we have a difference in the amount of money, what are we doing with that? Are we gonna be close? I mean,
We'll be close. We'll be the 1.2, and then the 313 will be right on target. So,
1.65,
no, they were 1.4 something.
with the other 2 things added on the bottom, with everything added together?
That was the bid package.
With the options,
well, the options, there's 2 options,
Yeah,
right?
there's 2 options underneath there,
yeah, if the options were,
like 50,
I-
30.
yeah, it wasn't that
But
much.
it's still gonna be 80,000 over at least.
No, the 2 bid options have got up to like 1.6.
Yeah, 6.5.
If we do the options.
If we do the options, but I mean, are those options, I'm assuming we wanna do?
Yeah, I didn't see the.
Yeah, they're at the bottom of the bid.
Well, we'll review the bid package when we, the quotes when we, for the next meeting, to make sure everything is status
Do you know
quo.
where they did other jobs out? Have they given you any of that information yet? Have they got that information?
They've been in Tappan Zee, they've done Tappan Zee, the Cuomo Bridge they worked on, a couple other
Tap
things.
into it.
You know, I thought
All right, well, we'll get
The
more
options were-
information, right?
yeah.
The options were 50,000.
It's 2 of them, right?
I think it was these, right? Wasn't that 50,000?
Where's the bid? Okay, their original bid,
I actually got it right here in my notes, right?
These bids,
Yeah, everybody should have it.
1.4, almost 1.5.
almost 145,
And then you got 3 options that are about 2 million.
No,
I mean, 200,000.
Okay,
I gotta go back and look at them. I don't think they were.
correspondence. I believe I just have one correspondence.
It's been a light day, right?
Yeah. Oh, here it is, right here. Yeah. So, Arbin Group LLC base bid was $1,479,000. Alternate 66. Alternate 1 was 66,000, alternate 2 was 33,000, alternate 3 was 90, and alternate 4 was C attach. So we'll discuss all those at the next meeting. But yeah, they researched them and got their credentials, and everything is, they're very satisfactory to our engineers.
I looked them up online, they didn't have anything, there wasn't any negative reviews on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Research I did.
So on,
Yeah.
what are the, for the alternate, they got alternate 1, alternate 2, alternate 3. Are these alternates all this, I didn't look at, are they all the same thing, but just more intense?
Yeah,
What they're doing?
You know, I couldn't really tell you.
we're gonna have to look at it.
I didn't look at that alternate part really quick.
There was an attachment too.
Yeah, but she didn't have the attachment on there. I mean, because if they're all 3 separate, and we have to do all 3
I'll make
separate,
sure the board
it's
has,
1.668, right?
yeah, I'll make sure the board is aware of all the alternates and what they're about.
Yeah, he's got, that's the attachment.
I just, oh,
Okay. So I can see. I think it's like Tim's.
So is that in the email that was sent to us?
Yes.
I don't see
This is
it
the
in
attachment.
But I don't see it in her attachment, it says see attachment, but it's not here.
Proposed price for alternative 1.
Yeah, like I said, I'll clarify all that, so this way, don't knock yourself out before the next meeting. The other, I got this letter from Roads Management. It's about Town Code Section 155-16G3F. Dear board members, I'm informed by the Town Building Inspector Tom Corcoran Jr. of this code's section, and to my understanding, it precludes the installation and use of mobile storage containers within any zone of the town except agriculture. I have improved and developed a piece of parcel at 557 Route 44-55 in Bailey's Gap, number 95.2-1-37. I believe the zoning designation is C-2 or special commercial. This parcel is within a wetland designated area, and I believe there may be extraordinary circumstances mitigating the preclusion of mobile storage containers on this parcel. I have requested to file for an exemption to preclude the enforcement of this code on my property, but am informed by the building department that an exemption is not possible, and only the town board can rule, and then only by removing that section of the code completely. I can see a value to the code and only wish to receive an exemption regarding the use of my specific parcel and for my specific reasons. You can assist me in this matter, and how would I proceed to appeal to the town for consideration? I have a tough time taking that code out, so I don't know what to say. That he was told that he could actually pour a foundation or pour a slab and put the install the mobile storage on it and put a roof on it and call it a shed. I don't think he wants to do that. He don't want to spend the money. So my thought is that you abide by the code.
Is he asking us to change the code?
He wants us to remove the code or give an exception to the
you can
code.
put steel shipping containers on your property and call them a shed?
You can, if you put according to Tom, as long as you could put a base, a concrete base, put them on there, and then put a roof on it and side it and stuff like that, make it a shed. So the reason he's looking for exemption is because I guess you can't see it. You know, it's in the back. He has 50 acres or something like that. So maybe,
Why don't we discuss this with Tom, you see,
oh yeah?
Yeah, let's,
I think Tom's not for taking the code out of the,
Or an exemption.
yeah.
You can't take
Or an exemption, then if you give one exemption, you're gonna be,
The other exemption, the
Yeah.
code's no good.
yeah.
And you should take it.
Yeah, and really don't want those things, where it's in somebody's backyard where you
Yeah,
can see it.
Don't think I'd be
I
too
think
hip.
that's what the code's there for.
Yeah, I don't think, I'd like to see that.
But we could look at it further if you feel that if it's not seen, that maybe we could give it an exemption. But I think once you start that slippery slope, then you know. So right now, I'm just going to go along with our building code enforcement and say you really can't do it. If that's okay with the board.
It's fine.
Good with me.
Okay. Public comments. See how quick, 15 minutes.
That's a good one.
You're up.
Tell me what to do. Yeah, just come
Yes,
to my-
please, just state your name.
My name is Martin Marconic. I've been a lifelong resident. I did leave for a few years and I came back. I live up on Platico Road, so my travels are up Western Avenue to the four-way stop. And in the time I've been here, I noticed that that stop is not obeyed by everyone. And it's not that the people are bumping and going. They're just going through it like 40 miles an hour. So that usually tells me that they didn't see the sign, because most people don't go through a stop sign at 40 miles an hour. So
They do.
You're talking about the 5 corners?
is it 5?
Well, it's
With the
technically
merge?
5 now
Yeah.
with that other version.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry, are you the police chief?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chief
About
Kukosa.
2-3 weeks ago, complaints came in huge
Okay.
through there. So we spent some time, we did a ticket blitz. We wrote, 55 or 60 tickets in a 4-hour block there. So the problem is absolutely there. Part of the complaints that the people we stopped had said they're not sure where the stop signs are for. So I guess I'm a little slighted because I went and looked, and it's obvious that it says all-way stop, but the signs were a little bent off. So I contacted county DOT. They went up and they re-straightened all the signs. So we're still doing enforcement there. It hasn't gotten much better, but I can tell you the U-Pick season's over.
Right,
So
I
it will
do
get
know.
a little better because the traffic volume's not going to be there, and that's a lot of our violators are out-of-town violators.
Right, but
So I don't know
I
what
don't
else
think-
to do.
I don't think it's a police problem, to tell you the truth.
Well,
I think it's, you go to visit another town, you're a policeman, you might get off on going through a stop sign, but you're not gonna go through a stop sign at 40 miles an hour.
if you're
I
not,
think that people don't, some of them aren't seeing it, yeah, they have a lot of sites to look at, they're probably, I just think that we should look into it, because it's great that you're there and you're enforcing it, but when I stopped, because there was a police officer there the other day, and I said, how many people go through this stop sign? And the answer was 30 to 40 a day. That's not an enforcement problem. That's a signage or something else problem. So before one of our residents gets killed or maimed or something, I just think somebody should look into it a little bit better. I definitely think the police are doing a great job up there, but they do have to go away sometime, and when they go away and that one person gets, the new kid driving, just stops, obeys the rule, and goes through and gets hit at 40 miles an hour. Because at 40 miles an hour, you're like, oh, he's still 200 feet away, and you start to go through, and that person hits you, it could be the end. So I'd just rather see somebody go look at it, maybe put up some more stop ahead signs or something.
I did make suggestions to the county that they revisit the section. There are no stop lines. They're just
Okay.
signs. So a suggestion I made to them were painting stop
Right,
signs
right.
on the road. That's a little bit more of a visual.
Yeah.
They told me they would go up there and reevaluate it. They did straighten the signs as I originally requested, but I don't see anything else being done. And I don't have an answer for them, so I can't tell you they are or aren't considering anything. But it is a county road and it does have to go through the county.
Right.
The town, I'm sure, can make suggestions, but can't take any action on that.
Yeah.
So when did you talk to anybody up at the DPW?
Roughly 2 weeks ago.
And nothing has occurred?
No, they straightened out the signs.
But
Because
how
I was
about,
complaining-
did you tell them about painting the
I
line?
did, I made
Okay.
suggestions that we could do other stuff, because we had such a huge number of tickets there in such a short amount of time. Of course, we attributed those to the.
To the pick your
the
own
you-pick
guys,
people,
yeah.
the Self-pick people.
People that live there know it's a stop sign, you know.
This is true, the locals do. And I do agree, if you're familiar with the area, you know to stop. And that intersection kind of does warrant you to stop, I mean, when you're pulling up on it. So the excuse that I didn't know was a stop sign, I don't
Yeah,
accept,
don't go-
because there's huge sight distances there. It's not like you came around a blind turn and bam, there was the stop sign.
And it's not
'Cause I
always
could
the same
understand
way
that.
either. It's
Right.
from different ways. Actually, it's mostly on Latin Town.
Yes, it is.
Right, yeah.
And coming north on Latin Town, there's a 1,000-foot sight distance to that stop sign.
And I've witnessed it 3 times, and my daughter witnessed it 1 time also.
Absolutely
And
right.
that's pretty sad right there.
I suggested stop signs, stop ahead signs. I haven't seen any of that stuff done. I'm not saying that the county doesn't have it in their future, but it didn't happen. They did go straighten the signs out the next day, but I'm sure that other stuff takes time. But I didn't get an answer whether they're actually considering that or not. But that's definitely something I can make
So
a
maybe a
secondary
phone
call
call.
up on. If the town supervisor also drafts a letter or contacts we can definitely put the bug in their ear. It is the county though, so it requires
Judging-
them to take action.
Judging from the amount of people at the meeting here, this obviously is running like a Swiss clock out. So you need to like
Oh, I'll call them
Probably
up tomorrow.
do a
I-
little
I-
something,
I was
pick up the
aware of it.
phone.
Actually, I was at the stop
got this
sign,
thing going
and a young
smooth.
kid went through about 40 miles an hour.
You're absolutely
Probably a local.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marty.
Thank you. James?
We were just talking about that for the last.
I can't believe how many people do it, though.
Usually those types of problems are,
Name, James?
James Garofalo. Usually those types of problems are as a result of poor sight distances. The chief says that sight distances are good. Usually you put the stop ahead sign in advance of a stop sign where you don't have the adequate sight distance. Now,
But if you have the adequate sight distance,
Gen-
it's redundant, right?
Yeah, generally you don't do that. Certainly, a much more expensive option, which I don't see them doing, would be to make it a roundabout.
And Scott was
And-
just talking
and they're-
about that.
And they're not going to do that because
No,
it's
they're
too
not going to
expensive.
do that.
Yeah, you got the room, but it's a very
It's almost perfect.
it's a very expensive
Yeah,
improvement,
roundabouts are
but it's
very
much
expensive.
safer than the current
Make it a
situation.
roundabout, you have to go around, you can't go through it.
And the
Okay, thank you
But
very much.
what I would like to speak to you about is something different, which is the planning board is very nice in the sense that they have old agendas up. And that makes it easy that if I want to find something in their minutes, I can go to their one-page agendas and look at that and figure out, okay, this is the one that I want to look at, and then I can go look at the meeting minutes. Whereas for the ZBA and the town board, you have the current year agendas. So it would be nice if you could put the older agendas up, so if I wanted to look
They
at.
are,
Yeah.
they are. They go way back, don't they?
2019 is up.
Just
right now.
18, 19?
19.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So if you had ones for the other years, that would be nice. What would even be nicer is if, starting in 2020, when you change the agenda, you actually change what you put on the website after the meeting. So that if you had some topic that was a change, say you wanted to talk about, an intersection that wasn't on the agenda originally, that when you go back there later,
Couldn't
you could
go
find
to
that.
the,
You could go through all of the minutes for all the
you
year.
could go to the minutes.
Yes, but it's a lot easier if you have the agenda. You can find exactly which minutes instead of having to go through 10 or however many pages of minutes you have.
You really,
But it gives
you
you,
really have to do that, Jim.
I don't,
At least the agendas you print anyway, so why not put them up like the planning board does?
We can think about
Maybe if
that.
you
Thank
increase
you.
my stipend.
What'd you say?
Nothing.
Thank you,
Season.
James. Okay. Let's move on to the resolutions.
Resolutions.
So, Resolution 83 to adopt the 2020 final budget.
Stan, final budget, nobody's here.
Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Whereas the Town Board of Town of Marlborough duly held a public hearing on 2020 budget on October 14, 2019, and whereas said hearing was duly advertised to help and held at appointed time and place, and all persons interested in the subject thereof were given the opportunity to be heard. And whereas the Town Board of Town of Marlborough desires to adopt the 2020 final budget, now therefore be resolved that the 2020 final budget is hereby adopted. So before we do the roll calling, I just want to thank Christina Wilco, the board, Scott Corcoran. We spent some time on this, and I'm very pleased to announce that the 2020 budget is a great budget and great for the taxpayers. So just to give you an idea, if you have a home of $150,000, you're going to pay $7.50 extra. If you have a home $200,000, you're going to pay $10. If you have a home, which most people have, $250,000, you're going to pay $12.50. $300,000, you're going to pay $15, and $400,000, you're going to pay $20. So it's a great budget and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran?
Yes.
Councilman Molinelli?
Yes.
Councilman Koenig?
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta?
Yes. So, Resolution 84, authorizing a pilot agreement, contribution agreement. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following. I'm not going to read it, all of it. It's with Nexamp. It's about the approval of Jeffrey Aldridge of that property. We came to an agreement on the pilot. It's a good agreement. Michael, would you like to say anything about it? Sure. Yeah. We got a couple minutes to go.
Thanks for your time tonight, Supervisor Lanzetta and the board. So Nexamp presented the town of Marlborough as well as the school district and the county with a multi-jurisdictional pilot agreement, which basically sets a $1 per megawatt tax rate on our 2-megawatt project just up the road at 132 Milton Turnpike. It is based on sort of the gross revenue from the project and is, I think, in line and sort of exceeds, what typically a project of that size and earns should do. But we worked hard with Al and others and struck a good deal. So I believe we're at 55, is the pilot 5,500 on this one? 51?
Yeah, and then the one-time 75.
Yes, and then a town contribution as well as that to sort of bring that up into, at issue, and not to get into the details, and I apologize if I'm stumbling over it. So the town realized, there were pilots in this county that were at higher levels. We had to go through and explain how that revenue had changed over time as the programs in New York had evolved and the amount of the rate that we were getting for these projects had declined as more and more projects came on. It's just the way the utilities and state had agreed to, as a way to adopt solar, initially give a lot of support and then kind of trail off in the end. By doing the pilot agreement as well as a town contribution agreement, this helped kind of equalize that to pilots of the past, and I think Nexamp felt this was a fair pilot and for both parties, and appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Mike.
Yep, thank you.
Sure. I spoke with you on the phone.
Yep.
Danielle.
CUTC, HIARA.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, resolution to authorization of pilot agreement and contribution agreement. You guys saw this. And so let's move on. Danielle?
Supervisor Lanzetta?
Yes.
Councilman Molinelli?
Yes.
Councilman Corcoran?
Yes.
Councilman Koenig?
I'm gonna have to recuse myself just because I have a little bit of dealings with Jeff, that's all. So you got enough to get past me.
Sure. Dealings with him, too.
No, I'm like a
I had a
business.
lot of dealings with him.
No. We're doing,
Okay. So it passed. So I'll sign the papers for the payment in lieu of tax agreement and also a contribution agreement also. And the new motion to amend the agenda was the intermunicipal agreement, SROs. The two lawyers have seen this. I'm in agreement. I think the chief and I and Scott and the board have covered just about everything that we could cover that we learned from past experience. And it includes all about the cars, which is a big thing. So I need a motion for the supervisor to sign the intermunicipal agreement with the school for the SROs.
I'll make that motion.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So approved. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Quite well.
I don't know if you guys noticed, you can't help but notice, but me and Scott were there the other day, the tower at 1650.
I saw it.
I almost got Al to climb up it.
It's up.
I haven't seen it. Like, I drive past it. I know.
No,
You
I
said
was-
how big it is, and I haven't
Is it hooked
noticed
up?
it.
No,
Drive past
just
it
the
twice,
tower
at least
is
four
up.
times
No,
each
I actually
day.
climbed it on Saturday. There's nothing up there.
Yeah, there's nothing up there.
Tried to make it a point to
big.
look that way today, but I didn't.
I mean, you know what it is?
Danielle?
The first thing I thought to myself was, that's a big tower, but then I said, you know, if somebody asked me 25 years ago, would I take a box with two antennas and stick it to my living room wall? You know what I mean? It's just, you put a router on the wall of your house now. You know what I mean?
I know, you said
It
it.
is, that's how we're living.
See, that's Al right at the top. See him?
Okay.
It jumps out at you.
Well, I don't notice it from the road, just driving over.
You gotta put the stuff on it, though.
You gotta put the stuff on.
It's up there.
Thank you, Michael. And, yeah, we had a quorum.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, we had
representing
three.
me in a real estate
Yeah.
deal, so I can't.
We're good.
And I don't work for Jeff anymore.
No,
there's
we're
no
good.
problem.
I signed the agreements tonight. Send them off to you.
No.
Put the second, please second.
Cream, yeah.
So, looking forward to your RFP for the landfill.
I guess it's good that I didn't notice it driving past, right?
Okay. Thank you, Michael. Al,
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adjourn, please.
And I'll second that motion.
all in favor? So moved.